Hey kids, it's Mrs. Gosh.
And Mr. Tenbor.
And today we want to talk about inferences because this can be a really hard part about reading. And one thing I remember from when I was a kid is I must have missed school for a week or two when they taught us about this because I never really understood it. I know, it sounds crazy, but even when I got to be a junior in high school, there's a really important test you have to take. And I did really poorly on that test because I didn't know how to infer. So when people say, and maybe you've heard this and maybe you haven't, but sometimes people say just read between the lines. Have you heard that?
I've heard that saying.
And it's kind of confusing, like what do you mean read between the lines? But basically what it means is if they ask you a question at the end of the story and you look back in the story and you don't see the answer anywhere, like some of the basic WH questions we ask, they're always in the story so far, right? But this becomes more complicated because the answer is not directly in the story. You have to use your knowledge about what you know about life, what you know about different things that you've experienced, and then take that knowledge and apply it to the text. So that's what we're going to do today. So what we have is we have a poster. Here, you want to hold that, Sag? And when we read the story, we're going to ask a question and we're going to talk about this is what the story says. And then it doesn't actually give us the answer. So this is what you're going to infer based on what the story says. Okay? So I'm going to start by reading a very short story. I don't want to lose you here. So just really listen, and then we're going to ask some questions about it. So here's how the story goes. Every day after work, Paul took his muddy boots off on the steps of the front porch. Alice would have a fit if the boots made it so far as the welcome mat. He then took off his dusty overalls and threw them into a plastic garbage bag. Alice left a new garbage bag tied to the porch railing for him every morning. On his way in the house, he dropped the garbage bag off at the washing machine and went straight up the stairs to the shower as he was instructed. He would eat dinner with her after he was presentable, as Alice had often said. So the first question is, what type of job does Paul do? So it didn't really say in our story, Paul was a teacher, Paul was a lawyer. It never said that to us. So we need to look back and pick up some clues, okay? So the first sentence said, every day after work, Paul took off his muddy boots on the steps of the front porch. So what did we hear about his job so far? What did he wear? Well, Mr. Tenbor, what did he wear?
Well, he knows that after work he would get home with these muddy boots on.
Okay, so what the text said is wears muddy boots.
Okay, that's what it said, but...
So now it says Alice would have a fit if the boots made it so far as the welcome mat. That doesn't really give us any information about what he does for a job yet. Then it says he then took off his dusty overalls and threw them into a plastic garbage bag. What else did we learn about his job?
Well, we know that he's got these overalls.
He
when
wears...
He gets home from work, he's wearing these overalls.
So he has dusty overalls, so they're not clean overalls, because that could make a difference.
That's so weird because my mom just went out my house.
Dusty overalls.
Okay, and then that's about the end of where it tells us about his job. So we're going to show you what we have. And remember, the question was, what type of job does Paul do? So we know that for his job, he wears muddy boots and he wears dusty overalls. So if we take that information, what can we infer about his job? What do you think a possibility is for his job, Mr. Tenbor?
Well, I'm going to say he's not a teacher because I wear these nice clothes to work, wear a tie.
Okay.
Let's think. Well, I do know a little bit about farming. My grandfather was a farmer.
Okay, so you're using your own experience.
I always associate, because you always wear overalls, so I always associate overalls with farming.
I would think that too. But in this story, since it doesn't tell us, we could also think there's a possibility of him being a construction worker.
Yeah.
You think maybe? Or someone that works on the railroad wears overalls. Yeah. But I really like the idea of farmer.
Okay.
Because we know about that, and so,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And
So
I
what we're going to
know
do.
that Miss Jess always dresses up her kid in overalls and calls
Oh,
him a
that's
farmer.
true. So what we can infer about the muddy boots and the dusty overalls is that Paul is a farmer. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice work. Now, this wants us to tell about Alice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So now we want to know about Alice. Now, it doesn't necessarily come out and tell us about her personality. It doesn't say...
Just describe her. It's asking to describe her. What do you
Yeah.
know about her?
Yeah, so it doesn't say like Alice is smart, Alice is funny, so we have to figure this out. So what we do know is that it says Alice would have a fit if the boots made it as far as the welcome mat. Okay. Fit about boots. Okay. What else?
She always left a new garbage bag for him.
Okay.
So he could put his overalls in. And then at the end, he dropped the garbage bag off in the washing machine and went straight up to the stairs to take a shower as instructed. So she tells him to take a shower every time he gets home.
Yeah, okay. So it says he goes up the stairs to take a shower as instructed. And it doesn't say who he was instructed by, but we're going to have to assume it's Alice because she's the only other one in this story. So she instructs Paul to take a shower. What else, Mr. Tembor?
And then it says he would eat dinner with her after he was presentable. I like that.
Okay, so she used the word presentable. Okay, and I'm assuming she makes the dinner too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we know that she would throw a fit about the muddy boots if they made it past the porch. She left the garbage bag for him. She instructs him to take a shower, and he can't have dinner until he's presentable. Presentable means that he has nicer clothes on and he's not as dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can infer from this about Alice's personality and what she's like. You got anything? I got something.
I have one. I bet yours is better, though. She prefers a tidy house.
Okay, so she's tidy. I was going to say that she sounds a little bossy.
Bossy? Whoa.
You think?
I mean, I guess presentable is a pretty bossy
And
word.
says as he was instructed.
She does tell him exactly what to do when he gets home.
And she would have a fit.
More bossy, yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to just go ahead and infer that she's a little bit bossy.
I think she likes to be a little bit in control, too. Bossy, control.
Yeah,
Likes
bossy.
to control the household.
Those are kind of synonyms a little bit.
Yep.
Bossy, maybe a little bit controlling.
You better have your overalls off.
Get those boots off. I can just imagine this conversation. And then I would also say that she seems very tidy. Another synonym. Remember, synonyms are words that mean the same. She seems pretty clean and organized.
Yep.
Okay. So it never said in the story, Alice is a very clean and organized woman, right? It gives us this information.
We just had to read between the lines.
And we read between the lines. We figure it out. Okay, so this one, what relationship do Paul and Alice have? I've actually worked with some students on this, and a lot of them have said brother and sister. And I think that's interesting because for me, if I were to boss Mr. Tembor around, he's my brother, I don't know that he would listen to me.
I wouldn't do it. No way.
Because he's my brother. So when we think about Alice and her kind of making the dinner for him and kind of instructing him about what he has to do before he can have the dinner, I'm going to come down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she makes the dinner.
Yep.
And then she's home while he's at work, right?
Yep.
So our options right now, I'm thinking, are mother, son, or husband and wife.
Oh, yeah. It could definitely be mother and son. I can see that.
Yeah, like if he's like 25 and still living at home, it's totally a possibility. But I'm gonna go with, I guess I'm gonna infer
I was
without
always thinking
husband
and
wife.
wife the whole way. Right?
Okay. So you can see sometimes you're
for different things.
yeah,
That'll
and
be
so
cool.
we need to read further into it for sure. But we're gonna infer for this one that they're husband and wife. So that's the information that we got out of this story. Okay, so the dogs were barking a little bit, but
we're done.
yep, we're going now. We're rolling. So that story, it's kind of interesting when you read it the first time and then you ask yourself those questions and you think, wow, I never thought about that. He is a farmer. She is kind of bossy. She's kind of controlling. She's organized. She's clean. And they're husband and wife. Because the story never said it, but we did figure that out. So now I want you, we're going to do one more story today. And for that story, I want you to get out a piece of paper. And then in the middle of the piece of paper, go ahead and draw a line straight down. Just like that. And then at the top, draw a line across like this. Okay, and then on the left side of the paper, write what I know. And then on the right side, write what I can infer. So it should look like this. And on this side of the paper is where we're going to write down what the story tells us. And then on this side, we're going to write down what we can infer based on that information. So go ahead and pause it if you need to still do that. Otherwise, we're going to keep going. All right. Do you want to read the next story?
I would love to.
Okay. Here you go.
Crack! Thunder struck and rain poured. Max stared blankly out the window, trying to contain his emotions that raged like the weather. He was beginning to lose it. Dropping the kite from his hand, Max broke out into full sobs. His mother comforted him. There, Max. We'll just find something else to do. She began to unpack the picnic basket that was on the counter and offered him a sandwich. Max snapped. I don't want sandwich. A flash from the sky lit up the living room. Boom. Mom sighed.
Okay. So, I kind of know what that story's about, but the questions about the story, the first one is, why is Max upset? So again, does the story come straight out and say Max is upset because? Mr. T, did you ever read Max is upset because?
No, it just tells me that he sobs a little bit. It doesn't say why he's upset. It just says he sobs.
Okay, so let's go sentence by sentence here, and so we can figure out why Max is upset.
Okay. Crack. Thunder struck and rain poured. Max stared blankly out the window. He's just looking out the window, trying to contain his emotions that raged like the weather.
Okay, so he's trying to contain his emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why is he having those emotions? What did the sentence before say?
The thunder struck and rain was pouring.
Thunder. Okay, so if it's thundering and lightning, there's a storming. Okay, so we know it's storming. We know it said in there that he sobbed, right?
Yep.
Max sobbed. What else does it say?
He was beginning to lose it. Dropping the kite from his hand, Max broke out into full sobs.
Okay, so he broke into sobs as he dropped the kite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're gonna write down that he dropped the kite. This is what mine looks like so far. Storming, Max sobbed, dropped the kite. What else does it say?
So his mom starts comforting him when he's about to break out here.
We had to pause because my kid is in here making a lot of noise. All right, Evelyn, can you go in the other room? You can come back and get the dolls. Love you. She's having a hard day. It's a rough day. Get the dolls for her. Can you get the dolls for her?
We're gonna keep this.
Where's
We're-
your keys?
This is
keep
not.
it.
This will
We're
not
recording.
be edited out.
Right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, hello, Madison Elementary.
Okay.
Something
Moving
you're
on.
looking
We're
for.
trying to figure. I don't know where the keys are.
Me?
There's a lot going on in this house
Jacket
right
pocket.
now.
I'm looking at it right
Okay.
now.
So now we're gonna continue.
Oh.
What we know is that it was
Gosh.
storming. Max sobbed,
Why are
and he dropped the kite. What else?
We're taking all this out. We're
Mm-mm.
not eating during the video, Kelly.
It's lunchtime.
No, it's not.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Going strong.
Starting now. Okay. And then, so he's breaking out in full sobs, and his mother starts to comfort him. She's like, there, Max.
Mhm.
We'll just find something else to do. So obviously what they were doing, that plan got ruined.
Okay. That's true. So he dropped the kite. He must have wanted to go fly the kite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else?
She began...
She unpacked the picnic basket.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. That sounds like they had a fun day planned out now that I
Yep.
think about it.
So, at home, why is Max upset? Storming. Max sobbed, dropped the kite. Mom unpacked the picnic basket. Because he can't what?
Can't spend the day with his mom.
Yeah,
Outside.
but he can't. Yeah, he can't go outside to fly his kite.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, let's not go too crazy with it because the next one's also asking it.
Can't go outside to fly his kite.
Yeah.
Darn it. That really does stink because of the storm. I think that a storm has probably ruined all of our plans at some point. Like when I want to go to a Cubs game, for example, and then it storms, and then there's a rain delay.
Oh man.
Remember when they won the World Series? That little rain delay?
Yes.
That was
also-
insane. I could rewatch that game 100 times.
I remember I went to one game and I got absolutely drenched in rain. But they kept playing.
Storms just really ruin a lot of plans, don't they?
All right, next question.
Next question.
Ask, what was Mom planning on doing today?
Oh boy. It doesn't. Hey, Mr. T, does it say Mom was planning
planning,
on?
It does not.
No.
So we have
Okay,
to
we have to
read
figure that out.
between the lines.
Yes, we do. And it says she began to unpack the picnic basket that was on the counter. Oh, that's sad. So what was Mom planning on doing?
Well, she now has a picnic basket inside and it's still full of stuff. So she was probably planning on having a picnic outside with
Yeah.
her son.
Planning on having a picnic. Aw, that stinks.
Yeah,
Picnics are fun.
that was a pretty easy one to infer.
My
would say.
marker is like gone, but this is what mine looks like. Planning on having a picnic, and then I'm gonna have my lightning. But then the lightning struck.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna do one more story because we're getting so much better. The first one we started with Mr. Tembor and I kind of guiding you, and then you did the next one on your paper. Now we're gonna take the paper away. We're just gonna listen to the story and try to answer the questions about it without really having to write down what I know and what I can infer. Okay, we got this. We got this.
Kyle ran into his house, slamming the door behind him. He threw his book bag on the floor and
Uh-oh.
plopped onto the... Oh.
Sounds mad.
He threw his book bag on the floor and plopped onto the couch. After 6 hours of playing Minecraft, he ate some pizza and fell asleep with a slice on his stomach and his feet on his book bag.
He also sounds lazy.
When Kyle came home from school the next day, he was noticeably distraught. He balled up his report card and placed it inside a soup can in the garage.
In the garbage.
Oh, geez. Sorry.
He didn't put it. Time out. He did not put it in the
missed
garage. He put it in the garbage.
Maybe the garbage is in the garage. He then flipped the soup can upside down in the garbage can, and he arranged loose pieces of trash over it. As he plopped down on the couch, He let out a sigh and picked up his controller.
What's he gonna play?
Minecraft.
Probably some more Minecraft. The question that I have is, why is Kyle distraught?
Ooh.
What does distraught mean? I bet we can figure it out from like context clues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it said distraught in here, so I'm gonna reread that part. When Kyle came home from school the next day, he was noticeably distraught.
Yeah, but hold on. That sentence isn't going to give us enough information to
will
know
not.
what distraught means, so we need to read more. He balled up his report card and placed it inside a soup can in the garbage. He then flipped the soup can upside down in the garbage can and arranged loose pieces over it and plopped down on the couch and let out a big sigh. Okay.
So obviously.
Oh, he slammed the door as well.
Oh, wow.
So distraught might mean that he's super, super happy.
I don't really slam doors when I'm happy.
I would say he's probably just tired.
I think I kind of close the door even slower when I'm tired.
Okay. I bet he's mad.
Ooh. You know, you ball up something. I've seen a lot of kids do that.
Yeah. So I think that was a good clue. I'm super upset.
Toss in the trash. And also, he didn't run home and show his report card to his family.
Uh-oh.
Right away, I mean.
Right. That's not good. So he was noticeably distraught. So he was noticeably upset.
You could definitely tell just
Okay.
by looking at his body language.
So why was Kyle upset?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody tell us why Kyle was upset. I wish we were live so we could hear your voices or see you in person.
Yes.
But I'll pretend Mr. Tembor is a student. So why do you think he's upset?
I believe that Kyle is probably upset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he did not like his report card, so he balled it up. So I'm assuming he did not do well on his report card.
I would say that you are probably correct.
Mm-hmm. He's upset by that.
Because would you ball up your
garbage?
report card and put it in the garbage if you got all A's?
No, I'd be
Pretty
proud
sure
of that. That'd be on the
he's
refrigerator.
trying to hide, yeah, if the refrigerator's magnetic.
All right,
Okay.
that's why he's upset.
Why does Kyle put the report card? Don't laugh at us, Bob.
I just gotta put the report card in a soup can.
Because it was a good report card.
I don't put good report cards in a soup can.
It was probably a really bad report card.
Yes.
He was hiding it.
There's a
Well,
lot.
that's the thing. The reason why he put it in the soup can is because he was trying to hide it from people.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't want anybody to see that he got all D's and F's. And do you think that he's like not smart, or do you think that maybe he's just spending his time doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, earlier it said he was playing Minecraft for 6 hours and he fell asleep with a pizza on his stomach.
I would say the moral of the story is don't play your video games for 7 hours. What do you think?
That's definitely part of it. Majority of it.
That's a good story. And then the last question was Kyle's report card good or bad? And why was it like that? Which we've kind of answered. We knew it was bad because he balled it up and put it in the trash can. You wouldn't do that if it was good. And then why was it like that? Well, if we referred back to the beginning, he was playing his video game for 7 hours. And he seems a little bit lazy. He fell asleep with a slice of pizza on his stomach. So maybe he's just not doing his work very well.
Mm-hmm.
So if I described Kyle, I would describe him as a little bit lazy. He loves video games. But he could be really smart.
Mm-hmm.
But he just gotta work harder.
Mm-hmm. I know
The hard worker award for Kyle, let's just say.
I know a few Kyles, but they've all got potential.
All right. Keep inferring, keep reading between the lines. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.
Always keep reading.
Keep reading. Do you want to get the last word?
Bye.
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 Bye.